there are two signatures on the screen. One is sample A, and another is sample B. Now, you tell me which signature do you think is more powerful? Is it sample A or sample B? Write in the chat. Which signature do you think is more powerful? Okay, let me see the answers. Sample A, sample A. Okay, sample A. Mostly people are saying sample A. Okay. Wow. I was waiting. Some people say sample B for everybody. Yes, it is sample A. I tell Rajeshwari, thank you for saying sample B. I tell you why sample A. As a layman, when you look into these two signatures, the first sample, it's give you immediately the first impression would be, oh, the name is Divyadeep, because you just are able to. And your mind has this power. It will look for things that are similar in nature, right? So when you're looking at the sample A, you're very much familiar with the language, with the alphabet. It is very much legible. Your mind immediately receives it and you know the name. But sample B, after the first second, you have to think about it. What is the name? How it is designed? There are too many questions and your mind does not accept which is not very familiar or very similar. That's the reason sample A is more powerful. Now I tell you, the biggest mistake that people have been doing in their signature, like they make their signature very legible, very normal signature, right, readable. But what happens, some people would come and say, are itna simple signature banaya, koi bhi copy kar le. And then I've seen, because I meet teenagers and this is how they do. They make their signature and they're complicating their own signature, not knowing the fact that when they do it, it is going to hamper their personality for long. The signature is the first thing people notice in your personality. So if I'm not able to read your signature or your name on the signature, subconsciously, the first impression that I'm going to get is not going to be very, very positive. So here, I'm going to tell you the mistakes you need to avoid in your signature. I would want you to click a picture here and just post it on your groups so that everybody who's making wrong signature should come to know. So the first mistake, we remember we learned about the legibility and illegibility. Your signature should never be illegible. Never be illegible. And the problem is more, even I was conducting the signature class and I was going to signatures of celebrities. Most of these signatures are illegible, even for celebrities, right? And that means when it shows that your signature is illegible, that means you do not want the world to know who you are. Like it means that Anushka doesn't want how the world perceives her. That means Sakshi doesn't want world to know what she is. Kuldeep doesn't want how he or she is. Lokesh doesn't want the world to know who he is. That means you do not want to reveal your identity to the world. That means your signature is illegible. It is not recommended. Second mistake. Many people have this habit. They will write their signature, legible signature, and they will strike it down. They will strike out their signature. Yeah. What does that mean? That means, yes, I took the first step. I wanted to reveal my identity. Then I got into the self-doubt, whether I'm good enough or not, whether I should reveal my identity or not. And you get into self-sabotage mode. So that is also not recommended. The third is, do not encircle your signature. People have this habit. This is like encircle in the entire signature. But there are many people who encircle maybe their first initial or some part of the signature. Again, when you encircle your signature, that means you're creating boundaries around yourself. You're creating a lot of limitations. This is what I can do. This is what I cannot do. This is what I'm meant for. You create boundaries and limitations and limiting beliefs around yourself. And then you always stay in your comfort zone. Even if it is one alphabet, I try to make it complex to be unique. So actually, that's why, this is the biggest myth that people were dealing with. That they think that, when you complex it, things will be unique, things will be better. But scientifically, you actually end up complicating your own personality. Because even for me, if I am seeing your signature, I would want that the first impression of the signature should be, I should come to know that your name is Sakshi. As long as I have to use my brain, kya naam hai, what is the name, what's the surname, it is actually creating a lot of complications. So the first subconscious impression doesn't go there. Yes, and the fourth thing is, do not write your signature down. Even for handwriting, if you're writing, you should never slant it downward. When you slant it downward, you attract a lot of negativities. That means you start sulking into negative energy. So it is not recommended always. Right now, you must be thinking, Divyadeep, you told us what are the mistakes, but how to make a healthy signature. So here is an example of a healthy signature. So I'm not saying that my signature is a perfect, but you can, of course, if you see the signature, so even if you see my signature, looking at my signature, the first thing you know that my name is Divyadeep. Yes, it's very much legible. Secondly, you can see this slanting upward. So whenever you write your signature slanting upward, it gives you positivity. Then do you notice there's an underline in signature, and yeah, no, it only complicates it, because I know there are many people who do not know the science behind signature, and they're teaching how to make complicated signatures, but that only, let's keep it simple. No, so more simple it is, the more legible it is. So if you see my signature, it is very simple. I mean, of course, but you will see that you looking at the signature, you come to know my name. This also shows leadership qualities. So whenever you underline your signature, it gives you leadership qualities. Yeah. And then you must be asking, ma'am, shall we use our surname or our first name, whatever? It completely depends on you, whether you want to keep your first name, your surname, whatever. But an underline slanting upward legibility will make a healthy signature. And as I mentioned, no signature handwriting can be forced. So do not think that, your handwriting can be forced. You know how you can identify the handwriting cannot be forced? The moment I would try to copy your signature, my pressure would change, because I'm doing it very, very consciously. तो मेरा pressure आपके pressure के साथ match कर ही नहीं सकता. Immediately आपको पता लग जाएगा कि force signature. Right? So this is how a healthy signature looks like.